When will this ever end? It's been the question on everyone's mind since the pandemic started, turning life as we knew it topsy-turvy. We might have gotten through the challenges of lockdowns and quarantines, but as the world shifts towards coexisting with COVID-19, the question now becomes, how do we maintain a balance between easing restrictions and protecting public health? To answer that, let's look at how effective existing measures have been. Most countries today have put measures like extensive testing, contact tracing, and tighter border controls in place. Some countries adopt stricter COVID-19 policies than others, such as a zero-COVID approach in order to avoid large infection numbers. But are the costs of continued restrictions too high? Strict quarantine rules have negative effects on the economies and businesses of certain countries. Our quality of life has also suffered, as many of us miss out on valuable personal opportunities and precious family time because of movement restrictions. Clearly, these restrictions need to be gradually eased. But what does that look like? Some countries have tentatively reopened their borders while imposing other measures like indoor capacity restrictions and vaccine passports. Others have lifted all restrictions by abolishing them altogether, or not requiring proof of vaccination for entry to public venues. It begs the question, have we jumped the gun? We've already seen how reopening too fast can lead to higher infection rates. Then there's the continued risk of cluster infections and the confusion of coordinating travel requirements as the situation remains volatile. For fear of overwhelming public health systems, governments still stay poised to reimpose restrictions. Indeed, our collective return to normalcy remains shaky and fragile. Still, we have to keep moving forward. So where do we go from here? The reality is that eradicating COVID-19 completely is impossible, especially as the virus continues to mutate. But if history is any good indication, we can rest assured knowing that pandemics do eventually end. Infectious diseases like influenza, measles, and cholera all started out as pandemics but became endemic over time. If the global community works together to share resources on what works and what doesn't, perhaps we can safely accelerate the transition from pandemic to endemic. One thing's for sure though, keeping up to date about the pandemic's developments is critical in adapting to upcoming changes and norms. You can start by checking out this issue of Read to Be Sure, where we look at COVID-19 restrictions from different perspectives. Gain insights on the rationale behind different restrictions and learn why approaches to lifting restrictions can differ so much between countries. Stay informed to stay safe.